Imagine, if you will, a gentle morning light spreading slowly across a sleepy village in medieval Europe. The year is somewhere around the 11th century, and the world looks very different. There are no cars, no electricity humming through wires overhead, and no morning alarm clocks. Instead, roosters crow as they greet the day, wooden shutters creak open, and the scent of bread baking in a clay oven drifts softly into the cool, misty air. People in this village live a simple life. They rise with the sun, they tend to their gardens and animals, and they rarely travel far beyond the gentle hills that embrace their homes. This is an age long before most people can read or write, long before most even have the chance to leave their villages. Life moves slowly, as though time itself is drowsy. And then, one sleepy morning, a strange stir begins to ripple through the village. News has arrived, a call from distant lands, a call to embark on a long and arduous journey across seas and deserts to reclaim sacred places. It is the call of the Crusades, and it spreads like sleepy whispers carried on a breeze, stirring up a sense of adventure that most people have never known. But setting off on a crusade is not a simple thing. It means packing up everything you have, a wooden bowl, a wool cloak, a few coins tucked into a pouch, and joining a group of travelers heading into the unknown. It means kissing goodbye to warm hearths and familiar paths, and stepping into a world as vast as the sleepy skies at night. As we listen to these preparations, you can almost hear the gentle clanking of pots and the murmured goodbyes. Horses stand quietly, while simple carts are loaded with barrels of water and sacks of dried grain. Knights polish their swords and armor, their movements slow and deliberate. Even they seem sleepy, as if sensing the long days and nights that lie ahead. They savor the last restful morning they may know for a long while. And so, one by one, people take their first sleepy steps away from home. They look back at their village, rooftops glowing in the morning light. Every sound, the distant chime of a church bell, the rustle of a breeze through the trees, feels strangely comforting, as if saying goodbye in its own gentle way. And with that, they set off into the distance, heading toward a future they cannot fully imagine. The world feels big and mysterious, the road long and winding, and as they walk, the soft rhythm of their own breath and footsteps becomes like a sleepy lullaby for the journey ahead. As the sun rises higher and the village fades into a sleepy haze behind them, the travelers find themselves moving at a measured, unhurried pace. This is not a hurried age. This is an era when even a march to distant lands feels slow and heavy, like the deep, sleepy breath of a slumbering giant. Picture the knights as they travel, each one encased in shining armor that glimmers warmly in the morning light. The metal plates and chainmail they wear are strong, but they are also weighty, dragging gently against their shoulders. Every step forward brings a soft clink and clatter, a quiet rhythmic sound like distant wind chimes stirring in a sleepy breeze. The knights' helmets, polished and protective, rest atop their heads like strange iron hats. Beneath those helmets, the men often grow drowsy in the midday sun. The world is hushed, save for the shuffle of feet and the creak of leather straps. They march onward in a loose line across sleepy meadows, their thoughts drifting like clouds overhead. And when night falls, they pitch camp together in little circles. Picture the glow of small campfires flickering against dark hillsides, and the sleepy shapes of knights leaning back against their shields. The weight of their armor is finally set aside, leaving behind only the gentle ache of tired muscles. Some doze off almost immediately, lulled by the gentle crackling of the fire and the occasional distant call of an owl. At bedtime, they do not have soft beds or cozy blankets as we do, only hay-stuffed mats or a saddle for a pillow. But after a day of slow, tired steps and carrying the weight of chainmail, even rough ground feels welcoming and restful. Wrapped in their cloaks, they close their eyes and let dreams drift over them like a comforting tide. And so, every morning, these sleepy warriors rise again to the sound of birdsong and their own clinking armor, knowing there are many, many miles left to wander, slowly, steadily, toward places they have only ever heard whispered about around sleepy village fires. After days of gentle marching, the knights and their companions eventually reach the edge of a vast and sleepy sea. The ocean stretches endlessly before them, shimmering in the golden light of morning, as if wrapped in a silken quilt. They have never seen so much water at once. Its gentle waves kiss the shore in slow, measured strokes, a sound that feels like a sleepy lullaby whispered just for them. To continue their journey, they must cross these sleepy blue depths by ship. Picture the wooden vessels bobbing gently in the shallows, sturdy, handmade ships with sails that hang like drooping sheets waiting for a breeze. Slowly, carefully, crates of provisions are loaded aboard. Knights climb the gangplanks, their armored boots thudding softly against the wooden planks, sounding like far-off drumming. When the sails catch a gentle wind at last, the ship glides smoothly out into open water. The horizon melts into a sleepy haze, the world becoming one endless blue circle. On deck, some travelers lean against the rails, watching seabirds circle lazily overhead. Others retreat below to lie down on simple bedding, bundles of straw and coarse fabric that shift with every gentle roll of the tide. Day after sleepy day passes at sea. Time seems to stretch, as if the ocean itself is dozing and has forgotten how to count the hours. Nights under the stars are quiet and calm. The creak of timber and the hush of waves soothe everyone into a kind of trance. Even the occasional dolphin leaping alongside the ship looks like part of a sleepy dream. And so they drift onward together, rocked gently by the ocean's hands, their thoughts floating like the clouds above. It is a journey of patience and rest, of salty breezes and distant horizons, carrying them ever closer to the mysteries that await, and deeper into the embrace of a sleepy, sleepy world. When the ship finally glides into a sleepy harbor and anchors with a soft sigh, the travelers feel solid ground under their feet once again. But this is not home. This is a distant shore, full of unfamiliar scents and gentle murmurs of a language they do not understand. The world feels like a dream, spun from faraway places, where palm trees bow in the breeze and low hills shimmer in the heat of the fading sun. As the light fades into a deep, velvety purple, they make their way inland. Campsites spring up like sleepy flowers across rolling hillsides, little clusters of tents glowing softly by firelight. Nights here are warm, with the scent of wild herbs carried on breezes that stir the campfires just enough to make their flames dance. People share their simple meals, bread baked on flat stones, dried fruits passed around like tiny treasures. Conversations are hushed, weaving tales of where they have come from and where they might go next, their sleepy voices carried into the dark like gentle waves. Somewhere in the distance, a lone lute plucks a slow melody, each note like a raindrop on a still lake. And then comes the most welcome part of all, lying down after long days of travel. The ground may be rough and the blankets thin, but their tired bodies sink into the softness of their dreams. Outside the tents, crickets hum their sleepy song, and the world seems to hold its breath as the travelers drift away into peaceful slumber, safe for this one gentle night beneath unfamiliar stars. Tomorrow will bring more miles and more discoveries. But for now, all is hushed as they rest beneath a sleepy sky that watches over them like an old friend. With the first gentle light of morning, comes the sound of sleepy feet stirring in the camp. Travelers rise slowly, still wrapped in their dreams, and prepare for another long day on the road. The landscape around them is dry and golden, and the sun begins its steady climb into a cloudless sky, warm and unhurried, like a sleepy yawn. This part of the journey is one of endless marches across hills and valleys that seem to stretch forever. Horses plod onward at a gentle pace, their hooves stirring up tiny clouds of dust that swirl and dance in the shimmering heat. Every mile feels the same as the last, as if time itself has paused for a rest. There are quiet hums of tired conversation and the occasional clink of armor, but mostly there is a sleepy stillness. Eyes grow heavy under helmets and hats. Some travelers let their thoughts wander like drifting clouds, wondering when the next oasis or village will appear. Occasionally, someone laughs softly, a gentle joke about how they might sleep for 100 years when this journey is finally over. At midday, they stop to drink water and nibble on bread, then stretch out briefly in patches of shade. Even this short rest feels like a small luxury. The world is hushed and sleepy, wrapped in a warm breeze that carries the sense of distant hills and dry grass. And then, onward they go once again, each step measured and deliberate, as if they are walking through a gentle dream. The road ahead is long, but their hearts are steady, knowing that tonight will bring another campfire, another sleepy lullaby of crickets, and another chance to lay their weary bodies down to sleep beneath a welcoming sky. As dawn's pale light filters through the camp, the travelers rouse themselves once more. Today they edge closer to where faint echoes of conflict drift across the hills, a distant murmur that sounds more like gentle thunder than the terrifying clash of steel. It is the land where armies once met, and though the battles lie far ahead, their sleepy echoes settle like a soft hum in the air. Imagine the nights pausing in a quiet hollow. In the distance, you might hear muffled drumbeats, slow and steady, as if someone half asleep were tapping a crooked lullaby. Trumpets rise and fall like sighs, each blast softened by the rolling hills, so that it seems no more alarming than the call of a night bird welcoming the dawn. Nearby, a lone sentinel stands watch, the strap of his helmet sliding down as he nods off, eyes half closed. His weary comrades lean on their spears, listening to the rhythmic cadence of marching feet in the faraway plains, a soft percussion that could almost lull you into a deeper slumber. In this strange moment, even the idea of war feels distant and hushed, as though the world itself is too sleepy to wage its oldest quarrels. At midday, the travelers make camp beside an old stone ruin, once a fortress, now draped in ivy and quiet as a forgotten dream. They gather around low fires, the smoke curling up like whispering spirits. Over bowls of steamy broth, they trade sleepy anecdotes about rumored skirmishes, how one knight nearly used his helmet as a cooking pot by mistake, or how a weary foot soldier became convinced the distant drums were the growls of an enormous slumbering beast. As the sun dips low, they settle into their tents. Outside, the wind hums through broken walls, a gentle chorus that carries faint echoes of history's clashes. These sounds might once have struck fear into their hearts, but now they blend into the nightly symphony, part of the world's soft, enduring rhythm. And so, surrounded by moss-covered stones and the quiet songs of medieval battlefields, the travelers close their eyes. They drift off beneath the hush of ancient echoes. Their dreams, mingling with the gentle sounds of distant war-turned lullaby, each one soothed by the knowledge that tomorrow's miles will buffer them still further from those sleepy drums on the breeze. Dawn breaks with a soft glow as the travelers pack up their camp for the last time, their carts and horses creaking in gentle protest. The road home lies before them, familiar yet distant, winding through rolling hills that now seem friendlier than when they first departed. Each hoofbeat and footstep carries them closer to hearths they once left behind, and the air tastes sweeter, as if the world sighs in relief. Their bodies are weary, but content, wrapped in the quiet joy of return. Along the way, they pass sleepy villages they scarcely recognize, roofs patched with new tiles, gardens bursting with summer blooms, and the friendly faces of children waving from dusty wains. Even the trees seem to stand taller, their leaves whispering welcome in the warm breeze. Meals are shared once more under shady oaks, coarse bread fresh from the oven, creamy cheese ripened in cellars, and sweet apples plucked from low branches. Conversation drifts from memories of distant shores to plans of feasts by the hearth. Laughter bubbles up easily now, light as dandelion fluff floating on a lazy wind. At night, they rest in familiar fields, laying their tired limbs beneath the same starry skies that guided them out. The songs of crickets and the rustle of grain feel like lullabies of home. In tents pitched beside old friends and new, they drift into dreams, filled not with battles or burdens, but with the soft comfort of returning at last. And as they wake to the gentle light of morning, they know that soon they will step through their own doorways, into warm rooms, into waiting arms, into beds made soft with fresh linen. The long journey has ended, and with it, the slow, sleepy steps become peaceful memories tucked away like treasures in the heart. As twilight deepens, the final embers of the day settle over the camp like glowing fireflies. The travelers, now seasoned by long roads and distant lands, prepare for their last night beneath a medieval sky. Lanterns hung from wooden posts shimmer softly, casting gentle pools of light among the tents. Everywhere, the world feels hushed and tender, as though it too is pausing to breathe before the night. Inside one tent, a weary knight loosens the straps of his helmet, setting it aside like an old friend. He stretches, feeling the tired ache of years of marching soften as he settles onto a bed of fresh straw. A friend nearby hums a quiet melody, an old lullaby passed down through generations, its notes drifting and fading into the dim corners of the camp. The simple tune carries memories of home, stone hearths, crackling fires, and the warm scent of fresh-baked bread. Outside, crickets begin their gentle chorus. Their song weaves between the whispering breeze and the distant croak of frogs by a sleepy stream. Each chirp and trill feels like a soft exhale, carrying away the day's weariness. Above, stars bloom one by one, delicate pinpricks of light in the velvet sky. They watch over the travelers, shining steadily as they have for 1,000 years. In this moment, the past and present intertwine. The world of the Crusades, with its armored knights, dusty marches, and distant fortresses, feels both ancient and achingly close. Yet, here in the gentle glow of lantern light, those hardships fade into something peaceful, fragments of memory that drift into dreams, like drifting petals on a quiet pond. As each traveler closes their eyes, the boundary between history and reverie softens. They dream of soaring banners, of campfires crackling under silent stars, and of the hushed voices that guided them through unknown lands. In sleep, they revisit rolling hills, distant shores, and ivy-draped ruins, experiencing again the gentle rhythm of that bygone age. And so, dear listener, as you lie beneath your own quiet canopy of night, imagine yourself here among these weary souls, resting beside flickering lanterns, lulled by cricket song, and cradled by the soft embrace of history. Let the distant echoes of an ancient world rock you gently and drift into your own cozy dreams, carrying with you the sleepy magic of days long past. Good night, and sleep well.